Man is incapable of perceiving the mystery hidden in the symbols that surround him. They are not just external manifestations, but expressions of something much deeper, the human soul. Carl Gustav Jung. When Jung published his work, Man and His Symbols, he opened a window onto the mystery of the human unconscious, showing that symbols are more than just arbitrary signs or images. They are the language of the soul. But why are symbols so important to our psyche? What do they represent? And more importantly, how do they influence the way we see the world, behave, and ultimately evolve as individuals? Symbols have been present in our lives since ancient times. Since the emergence of the first civilizations, human beings have always sought ways to represent the invisible, the inexplicable, and the divine. Whether in ancient myths, religions, or cultural traditions, symbols serve as bridges between the conscious and the unconscious, between the tangible and the transcendent. However, in modern society, where logic and rationalism dominate, there is a tendency to underestimate or even ignore the power of symbols. The world is interpreted in a linear and mechanical way, and many end up losing touch with this symbolic language that communicates directly with the unconscious. This is where Jung's work becomes so valuable, as he reminds us that in order to fully understand our psyche and the mysteries that reside within it, we must re-establish our connection with symbols and learn to decipher them. This script explores the role of symbols in the journey of self-knowledge and the process of individuation, one of the central concepts in Jung's analytical psychology. Through this lens, we will examine how symbols act as guides to the soul, opening doors to the unconscious and revealing deep truths about who we are. Thus, as part of our development, the integration of these symbols becomes an essential aspect of achieving a full and authentic life. By the end of this journey, you'll see that understanding symbols not only illuminates the path to self-knowledge, but also helps us navigate life's challenges and paradoxes. Now, with that in mind, let's dive into the fascinating world of symbolism and explore what it has to teach us about our own psyche. To understand the role of symbols in analytical psychology, it is essential to understand how they work within Jungian theory. Jung believed that symbols were the way in which the unconscious communicated with the conscious. Unlike signs, which have a fixed and clear meaning, symbols are multifaceted, full of ambiguity and potential for interpretation. They are dynamic expressions of something that would otherwise be impossible for our logical and rational thinking to grasp directly. One of Jung's central concepts, the process of individuation, is directly related to the use and interpretation of symbols. Individuation is the path we take towards wholeness, the integration of all aspects of our personality, both conscious and unconscious. This is a profound process, which involves confronting and integrating the shadow, the aspects of ourselves that we repress or reject, and dealing with universal archetypes, which are the basic symbolic models shared by all of humanity. Symbols act as guides in this process, as they arise spontaneously from dreams, art, mythology, and everyday life, offering us an opportunity to access parts of our psyche that are normally out of reach. Jung observed that symbols often appear in dreams at moments of crisis or transition, bringing to light powerful images that challenge our conscious understanding, but which, when deciphered, can bring profound insights. A classic example is the symbol of the mandala, a circular representation found in various cultures and religions, such as Buddhism and Hinduism. Jung saw the mandala as an expression of the self, the unifying center of the psyche. During the individuation process, the mandala often appears in dreams or in spontaneously created art, indicating a movement towards integration and inner harmony. Another significant symbol is the serpent, which in various traditions represents transformation and renewal. In mythology, the serpent is an ambivalent symbol. While it can be associated with danger and evil, it is also linked to wisdom and rebirth. For Jung, this ambivalence reflects the very nature of symbols, which contain both the potential for destruction and creation, depending on how we relate to them. Symbols, therefore, are not just a curiosity or a cultural ornament. They are vital tools in the process of self-discovery and integration of the psyche. They allow us to access deeper layers of ourselves and thus advance on the path to individuation. To illustrate how symbols influence everyday life and the process of individuation, let's look at some concrete situations. Imagine a person in a moment of great emotional crisis. They begin to have recurring dreams with the image of a labyrinth. At first, these dreams seem confusing and meaningless. But when she investigates the symbolism of the labyrinth, she discovers that throughout history, it has been associated with the inner journey, the search for a center. The labyrinth is a symbol of the process of self-discovery, in which one has to face many detours and obstacles before reaching the self, the core of the psyche. By recognizing the labyrinth as a symbol of their own inner journey, they can begin to reflect on what the crisis is trying to reveal. They may realize that they are at a point in their life where they need to reevaluate their choices, their values, and even their deepest beliefs. The labyrinth then ceases to be just a disconcerting dream image and becomes a symbolic guide to personal transformation. Another practical example can be found in a person who is repeatedly confronted with the image of water in their dreams, rivers, seas, or even floods. In Jungian symbolism, water is often associated with the unconscious and deep emotions. When it appears in large quantities, it can indicate that the person is being submerged by repressed or unconscious emotions. When confronted with this symbol, the person may realize that they have been avoiding dealing with old feelings or past traumas, which are now coming to the surface to be processed. These examples show that symbols, even when they emerge unexpectedly, have the potential to reveal deep truths about our emotional and psychological state. They should not be ignored or dismissed as mere fantasies. On the contrary, Jung teaches us that by recognizing and exploring the meaning of these symbols, we open a door to a deeper understanding of ourselves. In everyday life, we often encounter symbols without even realizing. The branding of a company, the decoration of a space, the choices we make in fashion or the arts, all carry symbols that reflect our collective and individual psyche. By learning to see beyond the surface and interpret these symbols, we gain a new understanding of what is really shaping our inner and outer reality. Therefore, by paying attention to symbols, especially those that appear at times of emotional tension or transition, we can find valuable clues about what needs to be faced, healed, or integrated into our lives. They are the silent guides that help us navigate the complex journey of individuation. Symbols not only reflect our personal experiences, but also reveal connections with the collective unconscious, another central concept in Jung's theory. The collective unconscious is made up of archetypes, universal patterns of behavior and experience that are shared by all of humanity, regardless of culture or era. These archetypes manifest themselves through symbols, myths, and narratives that repeat fundamental themes of human existence, such as the hero, the journey, the mother, death, and rebirth. One of the most powerful archetypes is the hero. He appears in myths and stories from all cultures and symbolizes the individual's struggle against opposing forces, both internal and external. The hero is the one who faces the unknown, goes through trials, and, in the end, returns transformed. On the journey of individuation, we are all called to be the hero of our own lives, facing our shadows, fears, and wounds that we often prefer to ignore. These inner struggles are manifested through symbols in dreams and imagination, where the hero can appear as an archetypal figure, a warrior, an explorer, or even a strong and resilient animal. When a person faces great challenges in life, these symbols can emerge, offering strength and inspiration. They remind us that the struggle for self-awareness and the integration of rejected aspects of ourselves is an archetypal battle, fought by all who seek growth and fulfillment. In addition to the hero, the archetype of the shadow also plays a central role in Jungian symbolism. The shadow contains everything we repress or deny in ourselves: our fears, insecurities, destructive impulses, and even qualities we don't accept. When the shadow is ignored or rejected, it manifests itself in destructive ways, often projected onto others or onto life events. The symbols that represent the shadow are those that cause us discomfort or even repulsion. It can be the image of a monster, a sinister figure, or a threatening animal. However, Jung teaches us that the shadow should not be feared or suppressed, but faced and integrated. It is through confronting the shadow that we become whole, recognizing both the light and the darkness within us. Thus, symbols, be they of heroes, monsters, or archetypal figures, play a crucial role in our journey of transformation. They are manifestations of the collective unconscious, serving as guides for the integration of the various parts of ourselves, leading us to the process of inner healing and liberation. Those who look outward dream, those who look inward awaken. Carl Jung. This quote perfectly encapsulates the purpose of Jung's study of symbols and the inner journey. Modern man is often immersed in the chaos of external life, distracted by the incessant calls of the material world and rationality. However, for those who allow themselves to look inwards, explore the unconscious, and dialogue with symbols, there is the promise of an awakening, a deeper encounter with the self and the totality of being. Throughout this itinerary, we have seen how symbols are much more than simple images. They are the language of the unconscious, an invitation to enter the deepest mysteries of the psyche. By accepting this invitation, we open ourselves up to the process of individuation, which, as Jung taught, is the path to our true liberation and integration. This process, however, is neither linear nor simple. It requires courage, as we often come face to face with aspects of ourselves that we would prefer to avoid: the shadow, emotional wounds, deeper fears. But by facing these symbols and what they represent, we begin to integrate parts of our psyche that were previously hidden or rejected. The symbol of the hero, for example, inspires us to continue, to move forward, even in the face of difficulties. The shadow, on the other hand, teaches us that true strength comes from accepting our totality, both the light and the darkness within us. More than that, symbols connect us to something greater than ourselves. They remind us that we are not alone on this journey. We are part of a collective story, an unconscious shared with all human beings. The archetypes that emerge in our dreams and fantasies are the same ones that have shaped the myths and religions of all time. This recognition brings a deep sense of belonging and purpose. Ultimately, by understanding and working with symbols, we find a new form of freedom. A freedom that comes from accepting who we really are in our entirety. Instead of being victims of our unconscious impulses, we become aware of our deepest motivations, able to direct our lives with wisdom and compassion. Therefore, man and his symbols are not separate. They are a unity, a dance between the conscious and the unconscious. By opening ourselves up to this dance, to the dialogue with symbols, we discover that the path to awakening and freedom actually lies within us. And so I close with an invitation. Look inwards. Accept the symbols that emerge from your unconscious and allow yourself to awaken to a fuller and truer life.